AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Hey listeners, this is Peter, and welcome back to the History Shorts podcast. This humble show is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the globe, yours truly included, and all in one place. Download Podcast Republic now, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Today on History Shorts. The interwar years and the rise of Adolf Hitler produced not only sweeping political upheavals, but also strange and sometimes improbable personal connections that have fascinated historians for decades. Among them is the enigmatic case of Unity Mitford, often mistakenly rendered in popular retellings as Unity Mitford. A member of the notorious Mitford family of Britain, Unity's extraordinary infatuation with Hitler, her time spent in Nazi Germany, and then her tragic fate made her one of the most unsettling symbols of Anglo-German entanglements in the 1930s. So, was she merely an eccentric admirer of Hitler, or did she represent a genuine channel of influence between Nazi Germany and sections of the British elite? Here is the rest of that story.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Let us begin with the Mitford sisters, who were among the most remarkable and notorious families of early 20th century Britain. Daughters of David Freeman Mitford, 2nd Baron Redesdale, they grew up in an aristocratic yet unconventional environment, exposed to a blend of privilege, eccentricity, and a strong sense of personality. Among these 6 sisters, their lives came to embody much of the political and cultural turbulence of the interwar period. Diana Mitford became the wife of British fascist leader Sir Oswald Mosley, while Jessica turned sharply the other way, embracing communism and then running away with her cousin to fight against Franco in the Spanish Civil War. Nancy became a celebrated novelist and a chronicler of upper-class manners. Unity Mitford, born in 1914, stood out even within this extraordinary family. From a young age, she exhibited intense passions and uncompromising political leanings. She developed an attraction to Germany that went beyond curiosity. Her middle name, Valkyrie, bestowed by her parents in reference to a mythological story, seemed prophetic, as she would later immerse herself in the culture and politics of Hitler's Reich. By the early 1930s, Europe was polarized between competing political ideologies. Unity and her sister Diana gravitated toward fascism, attracted by its authoritarian certainties, rejection of communism, and promise of national rebirth. While Diana became romantically linked with Mosley and his British Union of Fascists, Unity's interest took a more personal and idiosyncratic form. She became enamored with Adolf Hitler himself. The Mitfords traveled frequently on the continent, and Unity began making extended visits to Germany after Hitler's seizure of power in 1933. Unlike some casual sympathizers, she immersed herself in the culture of Nazism. Her striking appearance, tall, blonde, and Nordic-looking, along with her aristocratic connections, allowed her to move in elite circles. She became a visible and dedicated admirer of Hitler, cultivating an image of total devotion. The most remarkable aspect of Unity's life was her direct contact with Hitler himself. By sheer persistence, she somehow managed to engineer encounters with him in Munich, where he was still accessible to devoted followers in the mid-1930s. Through repeated attendance at his favorite restaurant, the Osteria Bavaria, she eventually gained his attention. Hitler, who valued loyalty and was fascinated by British aristocracy, seems to have been charmed by her devotion. Unity was welcomed into his circle, present at rallies, social gatherings, and even private lunches. According to accounts from those close to Hitler, she was treated with unusual warmth. Her unabashed adoration of him, bordering on worship, made her stand out even among the Führer's circle. Historians remain divided on the depth of this relationship, however. While some argue that it was limited to a platonic companionship and political usefulness, others suggest it was perhaps more intimate. What is clear is that Unity became one of the few English women to enjoy direct, personal access to Hitler during his rise to power. She became a visible symbol of Anglo-German connection, her presence covered by both German and British media. Unity's association with Hitler coincided with a period when sections of Britain were engaged in appeasement, hoping to avoid another catastrophic war by accommodating German demands. For Hitler, cultivating ties with members of the British elite was a strategic objective. He believed that Anglo-German friendship was possible and desirable, particularly given Britain's vast empire and naval power. And so in this context, Unity was more than just a curiosity. She embodied Hitler's hope that systematic elements of the British aristocracy might help sway policy in London. Her family name and social standing gave her a veneer of credibility. British newspapers, however, tended to treat her less seriously, often mocking her devotion as quite eccentric. Yet to Hitler, her presence was useful propaganda. She was evidence of foreign admiration, a reminder that Nazism could exert fascination beyond Germany's borders. The situation changed dramatically, however, in 1939, as tensions escalated over Poland. Unity found herself torn between her adopted Germany and her native Britain. When Britain declared war on Germany in September of 1939, following the invasion of Poland, she was quite devastated. Her carefully constructed identity as a bridge between the two nations collapsed overnight. On the 3rd of September, 1939, the very day war was declared, Unity attempted to end her life. While in Munich, she shot herself in the head with a small pistol. The bullet did not kill her, but lodged in her brain, leaving her grievously wounded. Hitler, upon hearing of the event, arranged for her to receive medical care. Remarkably, he even facilitated her repatriation to Britain, an unusual gesture in time of war. Unity returned to her family home in England, permanently disabled. She lived out the remainder of her life with severe physical and cognitive impairments, dependent on her family's care until she died in 1948 at the age of just 33. The story of Unity Mitford, or Milford, as is sometimes incorrectly recorded, has fascinated historians and the public alike because of its peculiar mixture of personal obsession, political symbolism, and obviously the tragedy at the end of her life. Her life itself raises questions about the allure of fascism, the role of aristocratic fascination with authoritarianism, and the blurred lines between eccentricity and political complicity. For some contemporaries, Unity's devotion to Hitler was simply embarrassing, an aristocratic folly better forgotten in the grim reality of a world war. For others, it was evidence of how fascist ideology could seduce individuals far removed from the social struggles of Germany. She embodied a disturbing truth: that admiration for Nazism was not confined to Germany or the lower classes, but could extend into the heart of Britain's upper echelons. Her story also complicates the narrative of appeasement. While she herself held no official influence, her proximity to Hitler fed suspicions that British aristocrats harbored dangerous sympathies. In a period when figures like the Duke of Windsor were scrutinized for their German ties, Unity's case became part of a larger anxiety about domestic loyalty and fascist infiltration. So why does Unity Mitford continue to draw such fascination? Well, part of the mystery lies in the gaps of the historical record. The precise nature of her relationship with Hitler technically still remains contested, as does the question of whether she acted with any political purpose beyond her personal devotion. Was she ever considered a channel of diplomacy? Did Hitler see her as a potential asset in shaping British policy? Archival evidence offers few definite answers. Surviving accounts suggest that Hitler saw her more as a symbol than an operative. She was living proof of the magnetic power of Nazism, capable of seducing even the daughters of Britain's elite. The impact of Unity's choices rippled through her family's reputation. The Mitfords, already politically polarized, became symbols of Britain's internal divisions in the 1930s. Diana's marriage to Mosley tied her permanently to fascism, while Jessica's communism marked her as a fierce opponent. Unity's attempted suicide and early death added a tragic, morbid chapter to the already kind of not-so-good family saga. Hopefully, today's episode has inspired you to seek out and learn more about the subject. For answers to questions, sources for today's episode, to leave a comment, or check out upcoming guest announcements, visit www.historyshortspodcast.com or look for History Shorts Podcast on Facebook, Patreon, and X. Stay curious, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.